student entrepreneurs and the entire Eddy community, those in the room and those connecting with us virtually. Welcome to the 2025 edition of the Studentpreneurs Indaba. Can you give yourselves a warm round of applause? It's an auspicious occasion, and one of this nature is one of Eddy's hallmark events. And whenever I come to an Eddy event, I'm always reminded of the first experience that I had that blew me away. So just to check around the room, who here is coming to the Studentpreneur Indaba or any Eddy event for that matter for the first time? Just by a show of hands. All right, Dr. Gumba, we've got quite a number of people that are in the room for the first time. So to you guys, if we're in any setting of young people, the one thing I would say to welcome you guys, ashayaba flate lapho ngithi tjovitjo. But because we're in an institution of higher learning, just allow me to say welcome. And please enjoy yourselves. This is a space of shared learning, and this is a space that will keep you both engaged and inspired. To those of you who are old faces, it's good to see you back again. So thank you for continuing to contribute towards this entrepreneurial ecosystem and the Eddy family. So to you guys, keep clocking it. Moving on from that, we're going to get into a few house rules, and let me start by way of apologies. So to anyone who may have experienced any delays in registration, we do apologize for that. We also do apologize for any hiccups or experience that were experienced in the Gluid app. So for you guys who have not had the opportunity to do your bag checks, if anyone still has luggage that they have with them, please consult with the ladies at reception and they'll be able to just assist you with that. Moving on from that, I'd just like to share a bit of some house rules. May we please keep our phones on silent or considerably off for the purpose of this occasion, to not interrupt any speakers or anyone who's on the floor at any given point in time. If anyone would like to access the lavatories, the bathrooms that is, you just make your way through the exit to your left, your immediate left again. We will have restrooms there, but for anyone who may find them occupied, you may move to the end of the room towards the lifts. On your right, you'll find further restrooms there. Are you all good? For those of you who did register, you guys are all carrying lanyards. And the one thing that's common there is a sticker that you guys might have. You'll find that some of you have purple stickers, some of you have different colors. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. I will reiterate this announcement later on before we wrap up and go to the quest visits. But I just wanted to kind of hammer that home, that you will be assigned to a particular team. And you'll get onto the bus when going to the quest visit that has the color sticker that you have on your lanyard. From there, you'll be able to do a whole host of activities that will allow you in this particular amazing race to do it not as an institution, but in different teams from various institutions. Are you all clear? Thank you. I will repeat that announcement a bit later on. Moving on from that, I would just like to stress as well that if anyone has not gone on the Gluid app and clicked on the link to then go into the amazing race and see some of the activities that are there, I'd just like to encourage you guys to please go on the app, click on the link. I'd also like to ask the production team to please populate a QR code that they can scan up on the screen so that anyone who has not gone on it, just go on that, click on it. There will be different activities, prizes, and the winners will be announced tomorrow. With that, ladies and gentlemen, this was not by way of welcome or introduction. I will be calling up someone who will introduce the Vice-Chancellor and who will, at the end of the day, give us a welcoming and open address. I'd now like to call upon the stage Prof. Eunice Siko, who is a distinguished professor at the University of South Africa, to come and introduce to us the Vice-Chancellor. Can we please give a round of applause to Prof. Eunice Siko?
Thank you, Program Director, for giving me this opportunity to introduce my Vice-Chancellor and to welcome her, to come and welcome you. You all know that we have a lady, a Vice-Chancellor who's a lady for the first time in many, many years. And you know that UNISA is the oldest university, about 152 years. But in the past 4 years, it had a woman Vice-Chancellor, a strategist, a visionary leader, a person who has moved UNISA from one level to the other, and who has made it a point that the output at UNISA, as expected, is high, it is increased. We are proud about what she introduced in terms of improving research, improving the teaching and learning, improving our academic programs, about 10 catalytic niche area, which we are proud of at UNISA and we are working on. If as you are seated there, you can just go on our website and you'll see. I'm one of the distinguished professors who's leading one of the catalytic niche area on health and medicine. Our VC has changed UNISA, and you are aware now that UNISA is a place to go to. On Saturday, this hall was full because we had a Vice Chancellor's concert, and we have the most creative artists who were performing here. We have all the activities that we always host at UNISA, and she has increased the partnership, the internationalization. Right now, she will introduce our international partners who are here from South Korea, from the 2 universities of Yonsei and University of Ewa. So we have a lady that we are very proud of, who's leading this university and taking it to the next level, Professor Puleng Lenkabula. And Prof, I'm proud to have you and to bring you on stage. Thank you, Program Director, for this opportunity.
Colleagues, good morning. Sanbonan, Lochan, Dumelang, Molweni, Absheni, Khwemore, Khatsong. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for being at the University of South Africa, the home of leaders. Let me also appreciate the opportunity that you have requested, Professor Sekwe. I think you were very clear, Professor Sekwe, you were put under the bus. But I'm quite appreciative. Professor Sekwe says she was not alerted that she would be doing the introduction. So let me introduce myself. I'm Puleng Lenkabula. I'm a professor of ethics and the principal and vice chancellor of UNISA. Yes, indeed, I was appointed as the first woman after 147 years of UNISA's existence. I'm the first woman to be the vice chancellor. I don't take that for granted. I'm aware that in our society, we're required to transform. And if you're a young woman or a young man and you want to take leadership, you should be aware that if you're first, you'll encounter multiplicities of challenges, but you must face them head on, and you must ensure at all material times you work towards excellence and wrap yourself around with the productive, wise, honest, ethical, and committed people to building strong institutions. And I think with your enterprise attitude and aptitude, you look towards that. Let me thank our colleagues from USAF who are here in this important entrepreneurship development in higher education program that is aimed to empower you colleagues, especially the students of the 26 universities in our country. Let me also appreciate the presence of our distinguished scholar, Professor Sekwe, who is a partner with in the organizing of this important event. We would have acknowledged USAF Chief Executive Officer, Mayor Dr. Matutu, also a few ambassadors who are custodians and support of this. Let me also recognize the Director of Entrepreneurship at UNISA, Professor Gumbo. I actually wondered, Professor Gumbo, why you're sitting at the back and not in the front. Also, colleagues, ABSA Group, Nonhlanhla Magagula, the head of corporate citizenship. I understand that ABSA has always been a partner in the promotion of enterprise development or entrepreneurship among students in our university. Let me recognize amongst us the Dean of the College of Economic and Management Sciences of the University of South Africa and all other deans that are here in this meeting, Dr. Maschaba, and equally important, all representatives from all the universities that are here. Please feel welcome to the university. I'm told that there are colleagues from Kenya, United Nations Economic Commission on Africa, ECA, that there is the National University of Lesotho, that there are colleagues from Botswana Institute for Technology and Research and Innovation. There are representatives from Canada, as well as Toronto Metropolitan University, as well as the Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework. There are also people from the Netherlands who are participating and will be participating in the full suite of these experiences, including our own Tshwane Economic Development Agency, UNECA, as well as our guest. Colleagues, we have amongst us one of the best artificial intelligence scholars in the world. As it is, he is amongst us to share some insights with the University of South Africa, Sefako Makhatu, and others. He's not just a professor of artificial intelligence, but its applications in medicine. And we are quite honored to have amongst us Professor Yoon Kubek, Professor of Artificial Intelligence at Ewa Women's University. Can I request you to give him a round of applause? Professor Yoon will be presenting an excellent paper at Harvard University just at the end of November. So look out for that, because you'll have met him and you won't be hearing from others about him. So thank you very much for being here and making. And then he is accompanied by Ms. Kim Ha-young, researcher at Iowa University. Can I request you also to stand? Thank you. You're welcome as well. And therefore, the person that is a friend of this university and also a theologian who is quite at the center of looking at how Korea and South Africa intersect is also an important guest of the university as the progenitor and supporter of the relationship between universities in South Africa and here through the work that is done by Yonsei University in South Korea. Let me request Dr. Lee to stand up so that colleagues can see you. Thank you very much. Now that I've introduced, let me then request a big round of applause for you, the students of the universities in the Republic of South Africa, the few that are committed to making education fashionable, transformative, and resourceful. Welcome to UNISA. Give yourselves a round of applause. I am quite privileged to have the honor to welcome you, the students in the universities in our beautiful land, the Republic of South Africa, but also those coming from SADC and other regions of the world to the 7th annual EDHE Student Preneurship Indaba and the 8th biennial EDHE Lekgotla. This is a gathering of global thinkers, of students of knowledge who are committed to using the learning resources, the research, the passion for ensuring that they don't look for jobs as employees, but they create jobs, they create innovative systems that will harness the development of our country, the continent, but also the best that Africa can contribute through yourselves and your ideas. And for a country such as South Africa, some of the critical questions of our times, the grand questions of poverty, the division and inaccessibility sometimes of higher education, the financing contradictions, require the youth and young adults to being the support, but also the anchor of the imagination of the solutions that we can co-construct together as students, the professorate, the universities, but also industry. In this context, we see yourselves as important partners that must ensure that the knowledge that you're garnering from universities, but also from TVET colleges, becomes an important ecosystem for entrepreneurship, for sustainability, and for ensuring that you yourselves don't cry that you're not getting jobs, but look into the opportunities that are available in our society. Secondly, I want to reaffirm that entrepreneurs in our country and in our continent will not be successful if they are not located within the knowledge systems of Africa and are not optimizing the opportunities that are available. So whilst we recognize that you're here because you have passion for entrepreneurial enterprise, it is important for you to thinking about building ethical, inclusive, sustainable economies where prosperity does not only come at the cost of integrity, where corruption is not entwined with how you do business, and where at the same time the intellectual property rights that your businesses generate become important rallying points for creating economic systems that are strong. Being business people is not only about profit. It's about building society. It's about purpose. It's about ensuring that your businesses are not limited only to South Africa, but they can expand into the continent and into the world and into building transnational companies. And therefore, colleagues, if your businesses as students are just amongst yourselves or within your universities, please note that the universities, including University of South Africa, if your university doesn't have such a platform, is available through our commercialization departments to help you to scale your innovations, your products, your services, and to ensure that the commercialization becomes an important imperative for yourselves. As I said, Dr. Patrice Motsepe is one of the examples of how to build global businesses in our country. The same is true to Dr. Precious Motsepe, who first built the first women's hospital or the first women clinic in our country. And their businesses have come to become globally competitive businesses. I'm just giving you a case study of people who look like you, who have gone on to creating businesses that have found ground internationally, including Time Bank. It is also important for you to look at legacies and at forebears in business, in entrepreneurship, and in society, who you can use as anchors for your own business, because it is through education and business acumen that you will achieve your dreams. Finally, I want to remind you that wealth is, if it's gained dishonestly, it fades. You are aware of what's going on in our country. You are aware of the people that the law is chasing because they have not led their enterprises with dignity, integrity, and ethics. And I want in this meeting, as we think about how to support you in your business processes, to really center ethics business ethics as an important imperative so that you don't just make quick money and it gets finished, but you make sustainable income through your businesses and your enterprise development. And to draw on the words of Wendy Luhabe, who says, in her journey for business, why she thinks she succeeded. She says, I believe that courage enabled me to take on responsibilities that were way beyond my age and possibly beyond my experience. And as a result, this positioned me for leadership roles early in my life in a variety of large institutions. Courage is very much related to one's self-esteem, self-worth, self-beliefs, and overall attitude towards life in general. And I would like you, therefore, colleagues, to ensure that you're not only courageous in exploring your businesses. Sometimes they will fail and fail again, but you should never lose hope. You must always try to ensure that your startup, your business, your enterprise development is associated and gets the requisite mentorship and advisory from experts so that it succeeds. Let me therefore also encourage you to developing international collaboration, because the world we live in is the world of globalization, where global trading systems are entwined. Your market must not just be limited to South Africa, must be global. And if you don't have a passport, colleagues, and if you have not traveled to any country outside South Africa, that's the first invitation that I'll encourage you to do. The second aspect that I thought is quite important as you think about enterprise development for yourself is that we live in the digital world where artificial intelligence, machine learning are not things that we should just talk about, but we must enact. If you're using your social media just for pictures and for likes, then you're not an entrepreneur. If you are a real entrepreneur, all your social media platforms must be about marketing the business that you are about, because it's how you optimize digital platforms, digital systems, in the context of digitization that become very important. And therefore, I'm hoping at the time when you're going to be engaging on the roles of artificial intelligence and the opportunities it provides for enterprise development, that you will ensure that you seize all the opportunities to learn, especially from Professor Yoon and other colleagues within our country and context who are learning on these important areas of research and that are important on our work. Finally, colleagues, let this Lekgotla remind us that the future of South Africa will be with those who create opportunities, not those who demand opportunities. The future of the continent and the aspirations of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, will be dependent on how you as youth and young adults determine the trajectories of lives that you would want to follow. Finally, I'd like to state that it is in the words of President Nelson Mandela, the alumnus of this august university, the University of South Africa, where he reminds us that the value of education is not only utilitarian, but it is to ensure that we create and co-construct the future that is meaningful together. And it is in your hands, because the youth in this country are more than my generation, the older ones. And if you as the youth are not inventive, active, and calling our society to transform and to creating policy measures that help you, your enterprise development will mean nothing. So be engaged, innovate, be active, but also succeed at school. Don't just sell without succeeding at school. The two go together. Welcome to UNISA, the home of leaders, the university, shaping futures, committed to being a partner to our society. Welcome. Enjoy yourselves. Finally, if you leave this university without a friend, then I know that you don't have mojo. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Prof. Puleng Lenka Bula for such a warm, welcoming address, a charge, and a call to action. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please give another round of applause? It's still morning, so I'll forgive you guys for that round of applause, okay? We'll get better as time goes by. But I think over the years, the Eddy family has grown its reach to continental and international borders. And in the welcoming address, Prof. Lengabula did touch on a few continental and international guests that we have in the house. And I did tell you guys that I'm going to do a bit of a national check, all right? So just by way of introduction, can we please note, is Zambia in the house? Zambia? We've got our Zambian guests over there. And Kenya, is Kenya in the house? Mulishan. Thank you very much. Is Lesotho in the house? Not yet. South Korea? Oh, we know they're there. Can we give them a round of applause? Our Botswana friends here yet? Kenya? All right, we'll wait for them to arrive, but we will do a national check as time goes by, colleagues, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that everyone is welcome and everyone understands that what a privilege it is for us to sit amongst each other, for us to knowledge share, and for us to just be found in a space where we can gather information, learnings, and teachings from not just only institutions within our reach, but individuals of influence throughout the continent and throughout the globe. So thank you very much to those who are able to join us, and we will do a check-in again as the program proceeds. But allow me to introduce Undlungulu Tatetu, Dr. Edward Gumbo, who will be rather giving us the welcoming address. Ladies and gents, can we please put our hands together for none other than the Director of Entrepreneurship Development in Higher Education at USAF, Dr. Edward Gumbo.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning to all. Thank you so much to the Vice Chancellor of this amazing university. I remember, it's about 15, 14 years ago, I actually walked on this stage. I think we're coming from this direction, going there. So I am a proud alumnus of this university. And I know you said it's a university that grooms and builds leaders. I attest to that. Thank you so much to all our guests that are present here, Prof. Siku, the Dean of Commerce, Prof. Lee, Prof. Kubek. We are excited that you had to join us this morning in this gathering of student entrepreneurs that are based in all our 26 public universities. Just to give a context, we have about, give and take, 1.1 to 1.2 million students in our 26 universities. So the ones that we see here are our special students who are saying, in addition to their academic workload, they have started running businesses to create employment, not only for themselves, but for others, contributing to the growth of this economy. Can you guys give yourselves a round of applause? I'm really excited and honored to stand before you here. To the organizing team, thank you so much for putting this together. But it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the 2025 Eddy Studentpreneurs Indaba, which is a gathering that celebrates the courage, the creativity, and commitment of young people who dare to build solutions for Africa's future. The program director has already indicated that this goes beyond our 26 universities, but it's now we have footprints in the region and footprints on the continent. Today's Indaba represents more than an event. It's actually a movement. It's a convergence of ideas, convergence of energy, as well as purpose. We gather not just to discuss entrepreneurship, but to live it, to experience it through the guests, the presentations that we will receive, the boot camps, those of you who arrived yesterday and this morning, and what is going to happen today, the quest visits, and the conversations that will unfold across these 2 days. And surrounding that, the VC has already addressed you that it's also important that you network, meet new people, share ideas, know what works in their context, and what it is that you can adopt into your context. This year's theme is Entrepreneurship for Sustainability, where we are reminded that the next frontier of innovation is not just about profit, but it's about purpose. It's about creating businesses that solve real problems, advancing food security, which is a challenge in the country, challenge on the continent, driving digital inclusion. I'm happy and excited that we have our distinguished professors of AI that are joining this conversation from Korea. And it's also about building resilient communities and contributing to a just and sustainable economy. Through the EDHE program under USAF, we continue to position entrepreneurship as central to higher education, transforming our universities into entrepreneurial ecosystems where students are not only employable, but capable of creating employment, innovation, as well as impact. We are particularly proud of the students' community of practice led by our community of practice chairperson and deputy chairperson. I'll acknowledge them. Martin, please wave. Who is the chairperson? Is the deputy chairperson here? Deputy chairperson from, is it Zululand, University of Zululand? Is not here. And then the deputy chairperson from VUT, is she here? Wave so that we can acknowledge you. Right there at the back. So this is a community of practice that is student-led. We don't want to be in conversations about student entrepreneurship without those that matter, the students themselves. As you embark on your quest visits today and sessions, I urge you to network intentionally, collaborate boldly, and innovate sustainably. Let these days be more than just an exchange of ideas, but let them be the beginning of partnerships, prototypes, as well as progress. Thank you once more to our host, the oldest university in the country. Is it one of the oldest, or is it also the oldest on the continent? The oldest. And I know that it's also, is it one of the biggest or the biggest open distance learning university in the world? It's an amazing institution. Thank you to all our partners, particularly Absa Bank, that has funded this Indaba, and our co-funder of this program, the Department of Higher Education and Training through the University Capacity Development Program, whose continued support exemplifies citizenship and how we can shape a generation of enterprising graduates. May this Indaba ignite your imagination and renew your belief that from our universities, Africa's next generation of change makers is rising. And I'll also acknowledge in our midst all our student entrepreneurship coordinators, the academics that are accompanying the students here. Okay, can I see all the coordinators from our universities, both academic and non-academic? Please wave where you are so that we acknowledge you. Please wave. From all our 26 universities. Thank you so much for driving and coordinating entrepreneurship at your universities. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, I say welcome to the EDHE Studentpreneurs Indaba 2025, where ideas meet impact. I thank you.
Thank you so much to Prof. Gumbo. Can we please give Prof. Gumbo another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Entrepreneurship for sustainability. And I love what he said. The next frontier is not just about profit, but about purpose. And that's what we need to do in terms of how we relay, how we interact our business, and how we conduct our business affairs. So thank you very much for hammering that message home, Dr. Gumbo. And I hope and trust that it's really echoed. In your goodie bags that you guys received, you do have a tote bag, and inside it, there are water bottles so that you guys stay hydrated. But more importantly than not, aside of the buffs and all other goodies that are there, there's a passport with a pen so that you guys can continue taking notes as the engagements, as time goes by. So please, make use of those so that you're able to jot down these golden nuggets that keep falling. Today is all about the student entrepreneur, and as such, we're going to go into a number of activities, particularly a quest activity, that will seek to capacitate and equip student entrepreneurs. But before we get into that particular segment, we've just been asked, and I did mention this, that we're amongst delegates from a continental and international space. So we're going to give space for Dr. Lee to come up and address us. Now, colleagues, I must warn you, so please, by all means necessary, can we please give Dr. Lee a warm welcome as he makes his way to the stage. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Lee.
Thank you so much. And then, I'm from the South Korea. I don't know the young generation know the Yonsei University, the Korea Reading University. I studied the business at the bachelor course, and master course is philosophy of religion, and then my PhD is world Christianity. So I briefly, I didn't know that today the speech, but I have a dream. I have just a small dream, and then I want to share today in the place. I came to UNISA to collaborate and build a new bridge between Korea and Africa through the field of the digital healthcare and artificial intelligence. So I made these kinds of the initiative is through the African Digital Healthcare Initiative. We are connecting Korea's technology capacity with Africa public health vision. Thank you. Vision. Across the continent, many still face barrier to medical care and diagnostics. I visited Ghana a few months ago, and then I saw the many challenges, and then I saw the Africa situation about the health issue. This is, frankly, honestly, many global society have to solve these kinds of the issue. So I want to solve using these kinds of the AI technology to apply the healthcare issue. The reason why I am here. My vision is to combine Korea's experience in innovation and technology with Africa's creativity, resilience, and even faith to shape a sustainable, inclusive, and dignified health ecosystem. So this initiative united Korean university, including Ewha Women's University and other our Korean university, even the Korean company like Indaba in Korea. So share African partner shares a mission of co-creation. So our university contribute their strength in AI, even clinical research. Korea global leader in body composition diagnostic provide a scalable health platform adaptable to community and school, and several Korean startups specializing in imaging and mobile health and are engaging with the African Institute to co-develop affordable and locally relevant solution. So together with UNISA, we are building not only system and technology, but also trust, knowledge, and solidarity that transcend border. So I want to talk briefly more, a little bit. To young people of Africa, I want to say this: you are not the future, you are the present. The power to transform your continent does not belong to distant institutions. It leaves your hands, your idea, and your courage to dream differently. Innovation is not only about the machine and algorithm, I believe. It is about hope, empathy, and human connection. This is what I understanding. So my visit and then join this event is therefore more than academics. It is a testimony of sharing beliefs that African health transformation must be led by Africans themselves. I don't want to just mimic Apple. I don't want to just mimic, Samsung or LG something. I know that their ability, but we should make ourselves. This is what I'm thinking. Together we can build a new global model of the healthcare, rooted in justice and dignity, one that begins here, Africa, UNISA, and radiate hope to rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Dr. Lee. Now, colleagues, as mentioned, today is all about the student entrepreneur. And as such, we're going to be going into a mini boot camp that'll help prepare us for the quest. Now, to call upon on stage our next speaker, it'll be none other than Mr. Basanda Pongoma, who is a business development specialist at the DITTC. Can we give a round of applause for Mr. Basanda Pongoma? And as he makes his way on stage just before he goes in, thank you so much to the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Universities of South Africa, as well as the delegation that has accompanied them. Can you give them another round of applause as they make their way? Right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pongo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Program Director. I think there's in absentia greeting to the Vice Chancellor of the University and also our guests that came this morning. And thank you for the invite from from ED and also from our College of Economics and Management Sciences. But colleagues, you are the guests of honor today, the students. So I'm here to engage you on a topic that I enjoy in terms of how to engage with student entrepreneurs in developing their solutions. So my talk of today, I'm on here. Awesome. Okay, so our conversation today was focusing in terms of design thinking. I think before I start on the conversation, can I get an indication who has done design thinking before in the audience? Okay. I hope I don't disappoint you along the way. So who else has done something around business model canvas, lean canvas, all these fancy things? Okay. If it was a classroom, I was going to engage you guys in terms of the work that you do, but it tends to that it might be more of a presentation than an engagement. But we'll try as we go along the conversation. So what we're looking at here is the introduction, what we call customer discovery. Another question, maybe you not answer, but ask yourself, what is the purpose of the business you are doing? What is the purpose of the business that we are doing? What is the purpose of what we are doing? Just also indication, how many people are having businesses here? Student businesses. Okay, good luck. So, okay, my conversation today, colleagues, is really very simple. I'll try some slides I don't have to explain. You will see I only have 90 minutes with you this morning, really to engage you and just to drop some questions and some concepts so that we can think about. So we'll look at, this is my outline of the conversation today. It's not going to be clear, but anyways, that's where I want to start. So in terms of entrepreneurship, we normally kind of split entrepreneurship in two categories. Is those entrepreneurships that like your SME, small business entrepreneurship, or we say innovation-driven enterprises. Those are typical, people who then drop the words called startups. Those are typical, what we call enterprises that we normally look at in terms of splitting. So today, as we engage today, we'll see that most of my conversation will more lean towards our innovation-driven enterprises. So you'll see in innovation-driven enterprises are those enterprises that are able to go and create jobs. Not just jobs locally, but jobs internationally. They're the ones that create industries. They're ones that will be able to build and become huge. So it's not a small shop in your corner, in your township, in your community, but it's those enterprises that are innovative in their space. I think there's a call from the principal this morning and also from our guest in terms of we need to be innovative in our space. So being innovative, you are there in terms of solving problems. So just giving a global perspective in terms of innovation, in terms of how we as a country, we perform, South Africa in Africa is number 3. If I'm not clear? Okay. Am I clear? Okay. Also this thing. Okay. So in South Africa is number 3 in the world. Number 3 in the world now. Number 3 in Africa. We normally change between 1, 2, 3. That's normally where we play. So I want to give a perspective in terms of why it's very important for us to be innovative. Because if we are not performing at a global stage and then we're up there, how do we able to drive new economies? How do we drive new industries and also employ? Understanding that as a country, we are sitting about 40% unemployment. Of that 40% unemployment, 60% is youth, which is us in this room. So it means that now there's a call really to you to say, how do you change that? And as entrepreneurs, you are those people that are able to do that, make a difference in your society by solving the problems that your communities have through the enterprises that you are building. In terms of startup, South Africa is rating 1 in Africa, in the world 52. That is the report in 2025. Maybe next year it can be 2. Next year it can be. But the whole point is to really also encourage in terms of the work that we do. It means that we're making a difference. But it doesn't mean that other countries are not coming hot behind us. So countries like Kenya, Nigeria are very aggressive and big in terms of in different spaces, fintech, they are global, powerhouses in terms of building new enterprises, even to a point of building what we call unicorns. This one is not clear, but hopefully next time we'll talk. So you can go to a website called Disruptive Africa. So in Disruptive Africa, the guy is trying to collate as much information about innovation and entrepreneurship in Africa. And I was just showing here in this slide in terms of how many alumni that are innovative, means that innovative in their space that will come up with new companies. In South Africa, we have a couple of UCT is one of them, I think, so Pretoria, and I think in VETS, and some are coming from other different countries in Africa. So these are Africans that are alumni, not just in Africa, but also outside of Africa. But we're seeing that it's not that they are only, this innovation is happening in the US or in Europe, but these alumni are coming from our African universities. So it really shows in terms of the importance of AD in the space that is driving entrepreneurship when it comes to students. So maybe in a couple of 2-3 years, we'll see that number changing and see more universities, TUT, DUT, and others in terms of more alumni that are innovative in the space. Just giving an overview in terms of UNISA, what is UNISA doing in the space of entrepreneurship? As you understand that UNISA is the biggest university in the country. We're sitting at the about third of the students in the country are coming from UNISA. So these are a couple of programs that UNISA is offering to their students, and not just students, staff, and alumni, but students. There's couple of programs that we offer. The first one, the ITT's Univentures, is the technology transfer office that offers entrepreneurship programs to the students. And also, we have CAMS, which is our College of Economics, Management Sciences. They have a couple of academic programs from your diploma or a certificate up to a PhD. They also have community programs that they do in terms of supporting your communities in entrepreneurship programs. They also partner with organizations and companies in delivering some of these entrepreneurial programs. We also have the business school that also provides some of these programs in terms of entrepreneurship and certificates. Also, CAMS does host in the university. They drive 80 programs. They are the ones that are hosting this program with us, with 80 today. We also have an incubator with Intlanyelo Hub that does some couple of programs with other partners outside. There's a couple of programs that they do in the Intlanyelo Hub. And then we have other enablers in the ecosystem that we support development of these technologies and innovations. We have our College of Science, Engineering and Technology, which is an innovation center. It enables the students in developing their technologies. They have the Product Development Center there that also support in terms of tech development and support the innovation that come from the students. And also we have what is a social innovation program. It's also a program that is there to support development of these solutions. So UNISA ecosystem is there to enable students, all different kinds of students, in terms of the stuff you're trying to do, not just from developing a solution, but also in terms of support you and developing you as a human being in the process of developing your solution. Just giving a brief background in terms of the work I do, I had this program called Univentures. Univentures have 3 programs within it, which is the first one, Startup Academy, where we invest in the founder in terms of support and training. So we do a curated training program, which is 9 modules in terms of developing their startup. Number 2, we support the startup in terms of fund management. We also support the startup in terms of profiling and marketing, developing of profiles, your videos. So if you can go to UNISA videos, you'll find some of the startups we support on their videos. We also have what we call the Startup Club, a platform of network and connecting the students, and also provide them some resources around developing their startups. And also we have linkages where UNISA students will understand that you find them across the country. So we do partner with different stakeholders across the country where we're able to place some of these startups in the ecosystem. And also we provide a mentorship for them. So just give an overview in terms of our location, in terms of the partners we have currently in this locally. And also, this might not be clear, but also in terms of our reach across the globe, in terms of how we partner with different stakeholders in assisting these startups. So there's a program that we run, which is a Global Startup Exchange program, where our startups, we take them to a 2-week program in different partners that we have. It might be in a Boston Innovation Ecosystem, or Switzerland, or in Rwanda, or Zanzibar, or in what we call Tanzania, and also in Brazil, where they can explore a different ecosystem and also try to develop them. And in that case, the students have a global perspective in terms of how they solve their problems. So I think I've done some marketing from UNISA, so let's engage now in terms of the talk for today. So remember, engage in terms of when you are someone who says, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an innovator, most of the time it starts from this point that either we have this idea, and most of the time people are scared that someone will steal the idea. How many who are scared that people will steal their own ideas? I mean, okay, nice. And someone said that I've created a new technology. Who has created a new tech, a nice shiny device? Okay, I see you. And someone just has a passion. You know what? I have a passion about education. I have a passion about inclusive technology or IT or finance. So most of the time, people are coming from this point that they want to go and say, I want to start a new business, which is a great thing. There's nothing stopping you to do that. But ask yourself the question earlier, why are you doing what you're doing? Why in the business of being in a business? Why you started a business? Do you start a business from a point that you have a new tech, or you have a new nice idea, or you are passionate about something? Why are you there? So the primary purpose of a new venture is to create value for customers by offering innovative products, services, or solutions that meet their needs and solve their problem. So as a venture, whatever you do, that's your purpose. Besides anything that you think is the best thing in the world, your purpose is to solve my problem. If I have a problem of wanting food at 12 o'clock in the evening, and we are a couple of us that have the same problem, when you come to business, you are there for that. Nothing else, nothing more. Does it make sense? Okay. So let's see how we go with this. Okay. So typically, in your venture, in terms of your journey, this is your typical journey where today we are going to engage more on what we call customer discovery. And the next one is where you get your education or entrepreneurship with incubators, boot camps, accelerators, all those fancy things. And then you have what we call mentors and coaches in your journey as you develop your solution. You develop a prototype. You get validation in terms of getting VC money. Who has VC money here? Venture capitalist money. Who wants it? Okay. And also you are this venture that is now VC bankable. Access to nice resources and all these things. But the whole point is the whole journey you are towards to survive. And that whole build-up is to create this venture of yours in solving these problems. So let's talk today about startups. Does anyone know what is a startup? It's a small company. A small company. Startup. They call it a small company. What do they call a startup? A what? High growth. Okay. So what is a startup? A startup is a temporary organization that is in a search for a scalable business model. So a startup, we won't be a startup forever. You have to go then to be a company that is now employing thousands and millions of people. However, as a startup, you are a person that is in search of a scalable business model. So when they start, what do you call these guys? Spotify. So when they started, how did they start in terms of their business model? Did they say, are we going to subscribe? Or did they say they're going to be freemium program? So as a startup, you have no clue how you're going to get money from your customer. But I know that most of us, we say we are startup, but already you're sure how you're going to get this money, and you're not going to move. If you're selling something at 10 rand, that's all you're going to do. So how then you go about it? A startup is someone who has to get that business model that creates what you call hypothesis. In this case, let's change the word hypothesis and say assumption, in this case, or we say a guess. We are a person of guesses as a startup. You don't know what you know. You are a person of guesses, and also where you want to then succeed, you want to have to go to a journey called customer discovery. How do you validate the problem that you identify? How do you validate that you have a certain customer and you are sure that customer is your customer? How do you validate that you're going to do business with that customer? And then the fancy tool that they normally use is called business model canvas. In other cases, it's called a lean canvas. I normally prefer more of a lean canvas because it gives you just a little bit more in terms of define the problem, define the opportunity in terms of which opportunity have you identified, which problem have you identified. So what does a business model canvas do for you? It's a small business plan. They call it a small business plan. Okay, a business plan is for a company. Company that knows what they are doing. They come up with a plan, they strategize there, and they execute. They have a business plan. You are a startup, you don't have what is called a business plan. You have this thing that's called a lean canvas or business model canvas. This is your guessing board game, or your bossing, or your what do you call it, your guessing canvas. Everything that you have there in those 9 blocks are all guesses. They are all guesses until we have validated that they are true. A company that is Coca-Cola, they're selling drinks, they know how many people they sell drinks to in Eastern Cape or in a certain town, exactly to a township. They know how they deliver that Coca-Cola into that tuck shop. You as a startup, we have no clue at this stage how you want to move from here to sell to someone if you are based in Pretoria, you're going to sell to someone sitting in Amaskral even. So you must be in a search to validate. You cannot assume that someone in Amaskral wants your product. Because you don't know them. Do you know your customer? So chances when you come up with this innovative solution, you have no clue of this customer. You assume that your customer is a Basanda, who's is a Basanda who's 35, a black staying in Sunnyside, and then you find out later that hey, my customer is not a Basanda, my customer is literally someone who's staying somewhere in a rural area, That's a typical customer who I'm gonna sell this product to. So the journey of that business, of your business, is to be able to validate that. Are we still together? Am I losing you? Are we together? Okay, that's awesome. So there's a guy called Steve Blank. Steve Blank is the one that coined this word, which is called startups, business model, and also your customer discovery. He's written a couple of books, 4 Steps to Epiphany. He has written books with other guys in terms of business model generation. He has a couple of books that you can go online. He has even an online website. You can go to Steve Blank and find him online. So you can get a lot of him from him. But what he told us about the journey of a startup? We assume that we have an idea that someone's going to steal from us, so we protect that idea. The next thing, we go and develop a product. Then once we have that product, we go to the market, and everyone's going to come and take us our product from us, in numbers. But Steve Blank says no. Before we have that initial enthusiasm, where you have a huge jump, great idea, everyone looks like they like it. Yes. We're getting there. We're going to get there. We want to get clarity as we go along. If after 5 or 10 slides you're still not clear, I'll come back to you. Is that fine? Okay. No, she's saying, okay, this was a boot camp, it's supposed to be a workshop, colleagues, so it's more of an engaging more than a presentation. So her question is that it's not always the truth that you don't know your customer. Normally you know your customer, that there's a queue problem at the Home Affairs and someone knows, you know exactly how that problem looks like and you can execute. Let's engage later and see if that's the case or not. Is that fine? Okay, awesome. So normally, as I said to you colleagues, you saw earlier my slide in terms of the startup and the company. So startup, you're in a search. Normally you start up with this great idea, excited about this idea, and then you want to go and just make it and go in and get money. However, this happens. We have this nice dip going under here, where you're now experimenting and pivoting. Remember when they say pivot, it's when now things are looking shaky for you. You thought that you have that queue at Home Affairs, and then your solution changes to something else. Now you are in a soup kitchen program. Sometimes it's a good opportunity, sometimes it's bad for you. However, it's something that all the startups go through. There's a pivoting space. So this space where we talk about the valley of death, it's where all the startups don't come out after a while. Most startups stay there, where you have this nice idea, you went and make this product, and now you cannot sell the product to the market, where we call it product market fit. Product market fit is that space where now you have the market and someone is getting the product from you. So Steve Blank is explaining that typical startup journey looks like this. This is a typical, anyone who says that I'm doing a startup, this is a typical journey. And remember we said earlier, this is how you go about in terms of looking at how you then build your startup. So when you look at the lean canvas, remember we spoke about it earlier. So the lean canvas is assisting you to gather your assumptions. So that canvas is to do one thing first, organize your guesses. Number 2, strategize. That is what it's there for. So that you strategize for what? Getting that business model that is scalable. That's why you have this. And the things that you're looking for is that, can you define the problem? Can you identify that problem at Home Affairs? And you know exactly how the problem looks like. Not what you think at home looks like. Do you know exactly? And who is your customer? Are you sure of the customer? I know most of us say our solution is for everyone. When I ask you, who can use this solution? Everyone can use it. Yeah, everyone is using it, but it doesn't mean that everyone is going to pay for it. You know a company called ShopRite. I hope I was streaming. I'm not selling ShopRite here. So there's a disclaimer, I'm not selling ShopRite, but I just want to say this. So everyone knows ShopRite, So ShopRite decides that they're going to have what we call YouSave. They have a YouSave, they have a ShopRite, they have a Checkers. It's the same company. So why didn't they just have a ShopRite? And that everyone just come into their doors. Why do they have a YouSave? Why do they have a Checkers? They are selling food, drinks and stuff. So what they do, everything they should sell it there for YouSave and all this brand, they can have it in one shop, which is called ShopRite. Why did they decide to have a YouSave, a Checkers, a ShopRite? Okay, let me just answer because time might kill us. Let me answer for you for this time. Remember when you said what is the purpose of ventures? Ventures are there to do what? Provide value. Customer, when they come to you, they do not care about your product. They don't care if this product is the best in the world. If it spins, if it talks to itself, they do not care. What they care is that, can you solve my problem? Can I get value from you? So when I go to Checkers and I only have 5 rand to buy water, I'm not going to get water from Checkers. My value of getting affordable water will be there at USave. So the value at USave is that it's accessible to me who's not have deep pockets, accessible to me who's working. I can get value by something that I can get affordable. That's why you then find USave in a taxi rank or in a township or in a rural area, either in a container. It's simple in its format because it provides what is called accessibility and affordability for the customers of ShopRite. They're not selling food. Food is a delivery of that value, but they're not selling food other than they're selling value to that customer. We can jump ShopRite now and talk about Checkers. Those who are Checkers buyers, they will know when you go to Checkers, you have nice bread, typical, you have 20 bread choices that you can buy from. You don't buy one loaf of bread. You have coffee this side that is smelling. You have meat this side that is smelling. All nice things. To a point that when you go to Checkers, there's someone in front of the door welcoming you in. Come in, say, come and buy. Even the door is this wide for you. When you go to USave, you know that in USave, the door is not this big. It's this big, the door. And also when you go out, the door is this big or this small. And also they're looking for what from you at USave? The receipt to sign. So they're not selling you what? Quality. They're not selling you in terms of, what do you call, what is that other thing? Convenience. So sometimes quality doesn't mean that USave is selling you something that is going to kill you. Quality in terms of these 20 breads, whereas USave is selling you one bread. So let's look at quality on that point, not say that USave is selling you something that is going to kill you. However, the whole point I'm trying to get is that the customer, the only thing that they care from you is that, do you care? Can you provide value for me? Once you provide that value for them, how you give that how you provide the product or the service, that's another story. You can use AI, you can use things that are jumping around. It does not matter to the customer as long as they're getting the value at what the price or at the quality they're looking for. Does it make sense? Are we still together? Awesome. And they say this thing. They say, why startup fail? Startup fail because the first one there is not clear. I can make it clear for you. They run out of money. Number 2, startup fail because there's no market need. And then they go on. But most of the time, every time you're going to look at every study from Genome Report, from Global Entrepreneurship Monitoring, those two, they always come up with the top 5. You run out of money as a startup. Number 2, we have no market. So let's see why you don't have market. So Steve Blanks, let's hear what is other quotes from him. He says startups don't fail because they lack a product. They fail because they lack customers and profitable business model. Number 2, they know about 80 to 95% of the features we have on your product. Customers, they don't care about them, and it's a waste of money that you just your time and money. That you can prove now. You can open any app there and ask yourself, out of that app, how many features are you using? Then you find that the features that you're using are sitting about 10 to 15% at most. So then, as a startup, why did you use all your time and money to build all those nice features? Who told you to do that? So we have a question earlier, that we know what is a problem at Home Affairs. I know my customers, so I know what their problem. I'm going to go and build this. In that process of us building, we don't build things that customers, they don't want from you. They don't find what? Value from what you provided there. So that is proven. You know that from your apps that you have. All the apps that you can go, all of, even WhatsApp, there are features that WhatsApp. What's the last time you used block? And some of you you have not blocked people, I think. There's a function called block there. You can go and block people who are irritating you. So that is just to show in terms of what is the customer looking for from you, and then how are you solving that problem for the customer? So as you build as a startup, what is your North Star? What North Star, that thing that guides you? As a startup, you're looking for this thing called a product market fit. Our product helps to solve what problem? What is the job they're looking for? And what are they trying to reduce the pains? And what is the gain they're looking for? So as a product market fit, is something that when you get there, it's when the customer comes back to you to get your product. It means that you've built a product that assists that customer to do certain jobs for them in reducing their pains and also increasing their gains. Once you get to that point, you have provided value for that customer, and customer come back to you all the time. So as a startup, that's your goal, or that's what you want to do. So, and also this session today is to try to say, how do you go about doing that? How do you go about coming up with a strategy so that you can get to the product market fit and not fail where? At the valley of death. So these guys, then they came with this nice tool. They call this tool Value Proposition Canvas. Who has used this tool before here? So this tool helps you in two things. Number one is to deal with your persona. The persona, the customer you say you know. And the second part is saying, how do I then devise this value proposition? How's my product going to look like in solving that? And this guy called Alex Osterwalder. He's built a company called Strategizer. He's the one that gave you what we call now a business model canvas. But he gave you this tool so that you can know the customer you are serving. But what he has identified with the customers, he said, customers, they're not doing only one job. Remember, on your product market fit, you want them, they have the jobs they need to do. And typically, we think those jobs are functional. So if I'm buying a car, what is the purpose of me buying a car? It's from driving into point A to point B. That's the purpose of that car. Why then a person goes and buy a Ferrari? So then we find that customers are not just buying things for functional jobs. They have two other jobs they want to do. Emotional jobs and social jobs. Emotional jobs, when you go and sit in a Ferrari or something that in your level is a Ferrari, what happens to your mind? You feel good, It means that you want that job to be done. Not just for you to point A to point B. There's another job that if I get in that car, I feel so comfortable and I enjoy it. Number two, when in that Ferrari, what happens? Socially, what happens is that people say, now I've made it in life. You buy that Ferrari. You didn't buy that Ferrari for yourself. That Ferrari, you bought it for me so that when you leave your house, I can see that you're in a Ferrari. So a customer, not just when you're dealing with a customer, don't think that you're only dealing a functional job. There are many things that a customer thinks about. That's why if you are feeling like you're going to go in a wrong taxi that is open there, you don't want anyone to see you go into a funny taxi. If you're in a taxi rank, or if you go to a bus that's stuck, you don't want people to see you that, hey, you're in that bus that is stuck. So customers, why are they going through those tasks? They're going through those three tasks for one reason only, or two reasons. Number one reason is that they're avoiding pain. I avoid the pain that I cannot go from point A to point B. That's pain number one, in terms of your functional job. Number two, this car, I want to feel good. I want to sit in a car where I'm not enjoying myself. I avoid that. I don't want to be in a car. When I can afford a Ferrari, I want to be sitting in a Uno. Fiat Uno. I want to sit in a comfortable car where I'm relaxed and nice. So I avoid the pain of becoming a car that is uncomfortable. Number three, socially, I want to be seen in a small, crampy car that is an Uno where I can afford a Ferrari. Socially, that's what we avoid. So customers, they do those things because they avoid that pain. So you need to know that what are the tasks the customer is trying to do and what is the customer is trying to avoid. Because what happens when you know what the customer avoids, you do this nice thing. You go and find a pain reliever. So I know that you have a pain problem, so it means that it's a headache, I get you a Panado. So with each pain they're trying to avoid, Your side of solution is to say, what is the pain reliever I'm going to come up with to solve that pain of this customer? Does it make sense? So the other thing that the customer is looking for is gains. Beyond them, you giving them this social and what you call functional and also emotional jobs. They also want something more. This car moves by 320. When they drive Sunday on the open road, they know the car is going to blast there and everyone's going to be left behind. So these are the things that other customers, when they go for a Ferrari, things that they want to get out of it. These are the gains that they get from that typical car. So what you do in your inside in your value proposition is what's called gain creators. Gain creators is that what do I do for the customer who's like, I want fast and quick car, and then to develop that. So at this stage, we have not created anything. There's no product that is flying. There's no product that is doing anything. You just know the task the customer is trying to do. You know the pain they're trying to avoid. You know the gains they're looking for. And then what you say inside, you say, okay, now I know the pain relievers they're looking for. You're looking for a painkiller to remove the pain from the head. Then internally, what do I do? As a business, I need to come up with product and services to able to create these gain creators, able to create these pain relievers. Then what this assists you with? You don't build fixtures that the customer is not looking for. Does it make sense? Because what is the nice thing that we normally do is that I have this nice product, it does all fancy things, but we have not taken the time to understand if the customer really need what you are saying they need through your product. So this tool also, it's your guessing tool. Is to make sure that until this point you understand what the customer is looking for, you're thinking you know what you're trying to develop internally, and what we do next is we're gonna engage on customer. How do you validate if this thing is true or not? This whole journey, what you're trying to do is what? You want to find what is called a product market fit. This tool sits with you within the lean canvas or a business model canvas. On your right is your persona that you normally find on your customer segment. And on your left, that is your value proposition map that normally sits on your value proposition. So your value proposition is intertwined or is integrated or it's embedded in you understanding what is the problem you're trying to solve and how you're going to provide value. You don't provide that value proposition outside of not understanding a customer. Are we still together? Are we still happy? Okay. Concerns? Or no concerns yet? Okay. How much time do I have? Okay. So this is what normally happens so I'm going to have a couple of these slides, talking about technology adoption, about 4 of them. So some of them are not going to repeat the case. So when you have a new technology in the market, whoever you are in the world, the market treats you this way. The first part is innovators. It's about 2.5. In other cases, say 3% or 3.5. The next one is early adopters. Combine those two, we have 15% majority of the time. So if your product is coming to the market, this is how we treat you in the market. There will be people that like your product because of they're in your space. They are trying it out. Those guys are called innovators, most of them. Most of the time, they say there's a nice new tool in fintech. I'm a fintech guru. I like fintech apps. I download this thing of yours just to check it out. After a while, I just drop it. Early and then what do you call the next one? Your early adopters, they're normally influenced by that. Hey, I saw that tech guru had this app. I also want it. Then you get that. Nice thing happens in the market. There's that thing called a chasm. The chasm there has no percent. It's a transparent thing there. It's where they call it the veil of death. When we looked earlier with Steve Blank's startup curve. The chasm, that's where all startups who fail end up being at. They don't go to the next level, which is the early majority. Early majority, 34, 35%. That's where now you get what we call a product market fit. It's where you get the majority of people saying that, I want to buy this product. It solves a problem for me. Most of us that we fail in that statistics of 90%, we normally end there, in that chasm there. We never get across that bridge, because we have not built a bridge for you. What we are doing today is say, let's give a strategy on customer discovery in building that bridge of not just stay at the early adopters, but find yourself within the product market fit, within the early majority. So this is typically how it looks. You will find your product market fit on the early majority. Once you are in the early majority, that's where you get your product market fit. Then they have this fancy tool. So this one, it shows you, the red one is called a technology diffusion. So as you start with the technology at the beginning, it starts something that is your, normally they say MVP, it's still something that is not come together. When you started with your, what do you call this app? Instagram. What was Instagram 5 years ago and what is Instagram today is different. So what happens to you that when you start with a new technology and you develop, you normally start there at the beginning. It starts there at the bottom with the innovators and the early adopters. So normally it's flat there. You're still trying out new stuff. Once it makes sense there, you then scale it up. That's when we talk about technology maturity. Your technology matures as you enter your early adopters. What it was looking, how it looked with the early adopters used to be like, for instance, if you come to a tech guru and stuff and all this like techs, you give them to explore. They like to have 10 codes or whatever, 10 buttons before they get to the product. But the early majority, they don't care about going to all sorts of things. They just want their problem to be solved now. They want to click once. They want to go and find things out for themselves. They just want things to be solved. So your technology as you develop, you need to understand that. You cannot stay where at the beginning you at. You cannot say when you sold your 10 or 10 people have tested the solution and then later you go and want to scale it up and sell to 100 and 1,000 people without changing anything. Does it make sense? So your technology maturity curve, which is called the S curve or technology diffusion, it assists you to understand in terms of you then matures that technology, going to the early majority, going to the late majority, it then flattens out to the laggards. Those guys who were doing the PBMs, you know PBM when it started stop with the BlackBerry, they were not innovating at the end because of the laggards came at the beginning, that 3%. There you are not innovating, you are done, until you have to innovate again. Normally there, most people have the market share of about 60, 70%, so they don't think they need to innovate. Anyone knows who is Kodak? Okay, some people don't know Kodak. There's a reason why you don't know Kodak. Kodak had a market share in terms of photograph about almost to 90%. In the market share in terms of photograph. Kodak is no more now. Because it went digital and then they stopped innovating. They set there what you call the maturity level and then it becomes flat. However, even though that they were the first one to come up with the digital camera, but it was not the ones that took it to the market. But when you go there in that flat, you tend to lose the market. Someone else can take up that market from you. So I'm going to just give a couple of slides, not explaining a lot in this case. So typically, this is the setup curve we spoke about from Steve Blanks. So what we have seen now is that when you are developing an SME, you have, over time, in terms of revenue jobs, you just have a straight line. However, if you are in an innovative-driven enterprise, normally with startups, they have this J curve. The J at the bottom, that's where you are at the chasm. You are there at the bottom when you are in the valley of death. It's where you are developing all this nice technology so that you get to a point of a product market fit. Your J becomes, you get what you call exponential growth. That's what happens to a typical startup. But now, with the entry of AI, that time that takes you normally to go and develop that enterprises is almost like halved because of AI in the space. So that's why AI in the space is down to startups. So if you're not infusing AI in your tech-driven startups, you are gonna be in trouble. So they give you just in different industries, pharmaceuticals, medtech, deep tech, and digital. They show in terms of what is the impact of AI. So the dotted lines is the AI enabled in terms of what it does in terms of your development of technology. So these are typical few companies that, if you're a company, the journey of you getting to the product market fit, the one which is a triangle, you're going live, so when you develop a product and you say it's live on your Google app, let's look at the last company. This last company called Figma. If you Google Figma, you saw that they've made a lot of billions in the market recently. So Figma, they got their new product live in the market after 3 years. However, they got their product market fit after 5 years. So it doesn't mean that when you go live, the customers, you get your product market fit. There's a time when you test that market to understand if the customer are looking to get your product. Does it make sense? Okay. Do I still have time though? Okay, just give a quick few examples. Twitter came with a phone a while back. Does anyone know Twitter came with a phone? How many minutes I have? Let's blaze through this one. So Twitter came with a phone, Is anyone using a Twitter phone? Okay, because they said everyone spend a lot of time on Twitter, so they can just use a phone with a Twitter tab, so that you can go and do your Twitter quickly, You thought you know your customer, and something nice happened to you. Google came with Google Lens. They tried to revive it. I'm not sure if it's back yet in the market. This one is my friend from Zambia here. I want to talk about this one before I stop. So what happens in a rural place in Zambia, or township or rural, semi-rural in a case? They don't have access to water. They go, the women there, they used to clean their clothes and go, what called clean houses, take care of the houses. But later they have to get their water and also clean clothes. They have to walk a distance for that, 2 kilometers or so. So, now said a program came to say, no, let's build a borehole here, closer to the house. They have a borehole, clean water outside of these houses. The next day, something funny happened. People are looking for water, that's the case. The women passed the borehole and they went back to the river. Remember when we said we know the problem at Home Affairs? Okay, so they went back to the river. And now this thing was seen a couple of times. Why would you leave clean water and go to that river and get a water that is not even good to drink? So they said, hey, let's go and talk to these guys. Then they realized with the conversation that these guys, these women in this case, when they are at the house, they clean the whole day. Kids are crying. This one wants food. They have been working the whole day. The last thing they want in their lives is to go get the water just outside the door and come back again. Because they don't have time, They're not going to have time to socialize, stockfell business, and all that things. So for them, going to fetch water and washing their clothes is for them to engage with their friends. So go back to our value proposition canvas. We said customers are not doing one job. They are looking for functional, social, and emotional jobs. So when this problem was solved on a functional basis only. It was not checked on the emotional one. It was not checked on the social one. Does it make sense? Okay. Let me not go others. This one at the bottom, you know that South Africa has a challenge of sanitation. In terms of rural areas, it's about 35% of sanitation, facilities. They brought what we call chemical treated solutions and all sorts of things. The mindset in the spaces was that we're coming from apartheid. We also want those things that are in towns, flushing toilets. We don't want chemical treated toilets. So you will find that you can go to a rural area, in some, not all of them, you will find a chemical treated toilet next to this long drop. It's closed there, no one is using it. And, because we don't ask the customers their problem and how this problem looks like. Guys, they say I have 5 minutes, so this is where we are here for this. What we call customer discovery. It's a process. I already engaged you about this process already. I'm just now going to give you tools in terms of how you go about doing it. So they say customer discovery is a process of interviewing potential customers to understand their problem, needs, desires, rather than simply validating your solution. It's about empathy, learning, gathering, and insight directly from the market. So it's two parts. One part of the customer discovery, it's you validating, do you have a problem? Do you know how the problem looks like? Do you have the market for it? Do you know if this market is correct for you? Once that is validated, the next step is say, can I validate now the solution that I think is right? So you come up the next step, you're doing the next same thing of validating that process. So this solution, why are you using this process? You're trying to avoid building unwanted products. You're trying to avoid you want to validate assumptions or the guesses you've made on your business model canvas. Remember I said you made assumptions and guesses. So all those guesses that you've made, in this process you validate. You want to get customer insights. You want to reduce the risk. You want to build better products. So that's typically why you're doing this process. You are creating, that's why if you go what you call design thinking. Design thinking, there's a first part called empathy. Empathy, you put yourself in the shoes of the customer. The things that you do there, you want to understand your customer's environment. When you do customer discovery, you need to know how this customer interacts with the product or the problem. How do they try and solve this problem? Number two, you interview them. You want to understand what is going through about in this problem, how do they solve it, and how they go about solving the problem. However, the main thing around this process, you are not validating what you know per se. What you know is okay, you can validate, it's okay. The second part you want to know from your customer, you want to know what you don't know. You want new insights. You want to know this customer, how do they go about solving? Why they don't use product A over product B? You want to know things that you yourself never thought about before. Because if you don't know those things, the market is going to tell you when you develop the product. That now you realize that actually the customer, why they're not buying this product is because it's expensive. And you never validated that price thing during your customer discovery. So customer discovery, you're trying to reduce the risk of your failure on what? On what you call the chasm, what you call the valley of death. You want to come on the other side. So what you do with this process, you are building your imaginary bridge. Since the market has built an imaginary ditch for you, you then have to build your imaginary, a bridge, so that you can go to the other side, which is the product market fit, the early majority. That's what you want to get to. So these are the typical 4 steps that you need to look at. So it's a scientific method that is looked at, which is hypothesis. In our case, we said let's use assumptions, or let's use a guess. So you have assumed that our customers in our friend there in Home Affairs, they want shorter queues. Our customers will use our apps for logging in because they want to get through the customer process at Home Affairs quick. That's the assumption you've made. So you've made that assumption. And then the next thing you say, okay, how do I design an experiment? So experiment, you say, okay, you've made an assumption that your customers will use your platform in solving their problem in terms of getting quicker through the process at Home Affairs. So the first thing that you do is design one. Number one on the design is saying what? Let's go in Home Affairs and observe this process, how it looks like. So you see how they engage with the tellers, you see how they sit there getting frustrated. That's your first part. Second part is say, okay, what kind of questions I'm going to ask here to understand that the problem of waiting is the problem. So as you design your questions, is to really validate that they will use this platform of yours that is digital that you thought about. So as you engage them, you realize that, hey, the majority of these customers, they don't have smartphones. They have what these phones call our tilili. But now, your assumption is said that these people are going to go online and use an app to process their solution, their registration on there. But now, yours is based on what? On an app. So what you do, we then decide, okay, since now I know my customers are what? Are Tilili people, means that they're using phones that are not smartphones. People know Tilili is not a smartphone. So if you don't have it, you don't know that it's a Tilili. But if you don't have a smartphone, you have a Tilili. So now, if you have that phone, what then you do? You say, okay, there's an SMS. Then you go back to your solution and say, let's create an SMS for my people. So now what did you avoid? You avoid to go and spend 50,000, 100,000 in building a nice app. You came up with a solution that a customer is looking for. Because sometimes you assume an app will be my solution, without engaging. So that's what you are trying to do. You design experiment. The next thing is that you test this experiment. They say this thing is design thinking, prototype, test. So when you test, you can have a simulation on this, you can have a presentation, or you can have a product to test this, if it works or not. What you're looking for is the insights. In those interviews that you're doing, you're looking for the insights from the customer. You're looking for a pattern in terms of how do my customer engage and do things, and based on my interviews. Does it make sense? Oh, cool. I hope the design guys, I got them. So normally, that's how you craft. So when you're crafting your hypothesis or your assumption, remember you need to define clear statement in terms of what are you assuming your customer is going to do to solve their problem. That's your statement. Just that the background is not nice. Number two, then in terms of, normally sometimes we have a couple of assumptions you've made, those hypotheses. Remember, in your 9 elements there, you're making assumptions about the problem, you're making assumptions about the customer or your business model, or your revenue, sorry. So when you're making those assumptions, you need to ask, based on my conversation with my customers, what will be the killer things? Things that will make sure that if this assumption is not true, should I continue with this business or not? So you don't make nice statements or assumptions. Choose then, you made maybe 10 or 15 assumptions. Then on those 15 assumptions that you've made about your customer, choose the ones that, if this is not proven true, do I stop what I'm doing? The next one you say, do I pivot? It means that I have to change what I thought I'm going to do. Because if you don't do that, the market is going to do what to you? Technology, adoption, you want to go fall in the chasm. So you need to be able to, before you do anything, know which assumptions that, if this thing is not true, I cannot continue with what I'm doing. Does it make sense? Awesome. Just that with time, if you come to your needs, so you can do this nice customer discovery work. So you would then show you in terms of how you go and create your hypothesis. Remember I spoke about that. And then we design your experiment in terms of how you're going to go about doing the interview. You're going to talk to who? We're going to talk to people at Home Affairs. We're going to go to Home Affairs in Centurion. We're going to go to Home Affairs in town, in Pretoria Center, and talk to them in terms of understanding. Maybe not everyone in Home Affairs. Maybe we're going to check only those people who are dealing with IDs and passports. The next thing I'm going to observe on how these guys behave. And then you have your couple of questions that you're going to ask. And what you want to do is that with the results now, you want to, in terms of the insights you get, you then have to ask yourself. Remember now I gave you that one, say, based on your insight, then find that majority of these guys don't have a smartphone. And I thought they're going to be using an app for this. And then you say, what am I going to change now? Iterate. Do I then pivot, or do I then say, let me go and change my hypothesis? It must be now an SMS-based thing, not an app. And then you have to go back again and validate that process. The other things that you want to validate in the process. So this is a typical way of how you go about validating your assumption. These are another examples. You can also invalidate your assumptions if it's not correct. It means that you can continue with that assumption. Time, I think I have 5 minutes. So can I skip here? Do you want to talk about this? No. Okay. This was more of an exercise in a classroom, so that to just get an insight in terms of, if you look at these companies, like with an open AI, what is their business model? Open AI. Remember, you go and compete in the market. So you need to be able to sometimes take a company that is your competitor and try to understand what is their business model. Open AI is a problem for me. Still not sure if it's an NPO or an NGO or a company, but it's a number one valuable company in the world. A lot of money that they're making. Who are they serving? Who are their customers? What problem does this customer have? What is this company's solution? Describe the evolution of this company over time. What, if anything, is changing in their world today in that space? So you're asking yourself, remember now you enter a market, you need to be able to know who's going to be your competitor. By understanding how your competitor works. Okay. So they said they have Q&A comments for you, and had to ask me if I was saying something right or wrong here. So let's quickly finish. So this is your way of trying to understand your competitor. Because if you understand your competitor, how it works, you also understand in terms of how are you able to execute in that market. You also know what you have to validate in that market. So this was trying to get you to that point. Does it make sense? Okay. So now this is your strategy now. So we're going to the market. Remember we spoke about, you then identify these assumptions that you've made, the one that can stop your business. So if you have made 10 and you've noticed that 2 that can make your company not work, you focus on those 2. That's our plan now of executing customer discovery. We start there. We choose the 2 or 1 that we know. This one is a risky assumption. Number 2, we have our plan now. Remember our plan? We have a hypothesis. We have a questionnaire. We know where we're going to do this experiment. And when you do customer discovery, the don'ts, you don't do a survey. You don't send a survey to so and so to complete for you. You don't do what you call group interviews. What else you don't do? You don't sell your product. You don't sell what you are trying to do there. You are trying to get an insights of the customer. Group interviews, it tends to that if someone is loud in that group, everyone will follow that person. So you don't get individual insights of everyone. If you're doing a survey, people can't tell you other things. You cannot see the facial expression if this thing, it frustrates this customer or not. You cannot go deep dive in the question. One of the things that you do as you do your interviews, they give what you call 5 whys. Root cause analysis, 5 whys. You ask those 5 whys to a point that someone cannot tell why in terms of the problem you're trying to solve. Does it make sense? So normally when you do this interview, you then introduce yourself. I'm so-and-so. I'm currently doing a research. I'm a student at TUT. I'm doing a research in terms of the access and processing of people at Home Affairs. That's what you're trying to do. That's your interview. You have not told them when I come up with a product or a solution. As you engage them, they give you insight. We ask them, why do they come there in the morning at 7 or at 6 where it's opening at 8? Why do they wait the whole day when they say the system is down? Why, until the point you're done with your whys? Does it make sense? Okay, we spoke about this, so this is your tool. That's tool number 1. So when you start this process, you must have this tool, which is your lean canvas, and other people who like what is called a business model in canvas. Tool number 2 is this one. So for instance, if you are someone who's doing the B2B business, let's say, you will have a problem, and you then decide, I want to go to a certain industry. So I want to go to into manufacturing. And then in manufacturing, what is a segment of that manufacturing? I want to go there and talk to people who are making toilet paper. And number 3, who I'm going to able to engage there? I want to engage the person who manages the plant. This is the person you want to talk to about the problem you're trying to solve in the toilet paper industry. Does it make sense? So now you are talking to a business. When you're talking to an individual, you can go to a home affairs and talk to people in the streets. But when you go to a company, you need to understand which market or which segment you're trying to solve. But the people that you're trying to get to are your middle management people as you try to get more insights. Okay? So this is a typical then tool you'll have in terms of getting the insights, document them. Also, when you have a plan, when are you going to do this interview? Who are you going to interview? What are the questions you're going to ask? When is going to be the interview? We must have this plan clear for you. Right? So the setup that we support, they have this plan as they go and do the interviews. And the last part, unless you have tested the assumptions in your business model first, outside the building, your business plan is just a creative writing. That's what Steve Blank says, not me. I think, can we get questions, 1 or 2? Comments, or all is good? But if you are here around, I think I'm going to be here another hour. If you want to engage with me, I'm around. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much to Mr. Pongoma, and on behalf of Eddie, we just wanted to say thank you for your contributions. Ladies and gents, we're almost at the tail end of our program, but before we do that, we're going to get into a quest briefing. But for a moment, I just want to take it and slow it down a beat. So can you please just be on our feet? It's been quite a lengthy morning with us arriving and coming into the session, so I just want us to just kind of have a little bit of a leg stretch. Are we all good? I see a couple of people stretching and yawning. Are we good? All right, I just want to do one quick thing. I just want everybody to reach out for their smartphone and take it out of their hand. Mr. Pongoma spoke about utilili, so if you have a tilili, much rather not. Rely on the person to the left or right of you. I want you guys to go into your camera for a second. I want you guys to turn it around and flip it to selfie mode. I'm going to switch it to video mode. All right. You guys are all looking good. So just take a picture or a selfie of yourself, the people that are around you if you want to, the whole room if you want to. But take that selfie, put it up on Instagram, tag EDHE, and make sure that we notice that you're here. Take a selfie of yourself. Thank you very much. Put it on the socials and tag us. Thanks, ladies and gents. Take a seat. All right, thanks, guys. You guys may be seated. Got a lot of content creators by the end of this weekend. I see you guys are quite enjoying that a little bit. Heard something going on here, Naomi or something. I don't know who that is, but we'll check in later. The guys from Zambia, did you guys take selfies? I was in another country about 2 months ago, and I was with a couple of people from Zambia, and I must say, hey, you guys love Amapiano, eh? And I'm a bit concerned if you get Zambian guys in Pretoria who love piano, we must capture you guys and keep you in the program. But yeah, we're going to go into our last session before we move into the quest visit. And to do our quest briefing is none other than Uwe Celishe, who is a business development officer at the Innovation Hub of Ekasi Labs. So can we please give a round of applause to Uwe Celishe?
Good morning, afternoon. Molweni. Ninjani. Siyaphila. For those that are not from Pretoria, welcome to Pretoria. We're looking forward to having you see what we do here. I'm Uwe Celishe. I'm from the Innovation Hub under the program Ekasi Labs. So some of the SMMEs that you'll be interacting with, we're responsible for their business development and growth in the province. So one of the things that I'll need you to do for us is to follow the Innovation Hub on social media, so that you get an understanding of the wonderful things we do in the Gauteng province in enterprise development. So I am here to brief you regarding how you're going to move about to see Pretoria. So you guys are seeing Pretoria today. So I think your stickers, each person has a color code somewhere in your sticker. Okay, it's fine. Yes, no? No? Okay, we'll sort out the fact that others don't have stickers. Okay, is that better? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so you've got stickers that shows colors on your badges, and you've got about 4 or 5 buses outside. Each bus is going to go to a specific area in Pretoria. So we've got a bus that's going to Pretoria East, that's covering the Innovation Hub, that's covering the CSIR. And then you've got a bus that's going to cover Silverton, the automotive sector. And then you're going to have a bus that's covering the northern Pretoria. And then you have a bus that's covering mainland. So in these buses, a number of people, according to your color, you are going to see on the window of the bus, there's a color that goes with your thing. So it's random. You don't choose which bus you go to. It's random according to the color of your thing, and you are then going to have a team leader that is specific for that particular SMME. So in one bus, there will be plus minus 3 groups that are going to 3 different SMMEs. So if you are in orange, the team leader for orange will tell you that now we are in Buhlale in Pretoria North, so the 5 or the 10 that's going to Buhlale, let's say orange stickers, will then leave. And then the bus leaves because the bus needs to go to the other side of Pretoria, which is Northern Pretoria Townships in Maboban. And then it drops another 5 with Lesego, and then it drops another, I think, 15 with Rorisang. Ne? So that's just it. So you are color-coded according to your bus. You will have a team leader. It's random. You don't select where you're going. It's going to be a surprise when you get there. But to give you an overview of some of the SMMEs that you're seeing, they've won awards every other day. Every other day, they are award-winning SMMEs within the province, and that we are responsible for making sure that they grow significantly as SMMEs, and they give back to the province in terms of jobs and the money and production of their products in the province. Anybody has a question? Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's fine. So I will say we will then have the people that have stickers to leave the room first and go to the buses. Ne? And then those that do not have stickers, we sort them out now. Because you are supposed to go to the bus that on the window it has a particular sticker. The stickers look like this. Nyabo? So can I see by a show of hands how many don't have stickers? Oh. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna first go with the ones that have stickers. They get into the relevant buses, and then in 5 minutes sort out the ones that do not have stickers. Ne? All right, thank you. Not now. They will tell you when to leave.
Please just wait. Do you mind if I just make an announcement? Thank you so much. Hi guys, please don't run away. Thank you so much. You can also stay here. So for those of you who do have stickers, but I'm also not finishing. We're still going to do something else after this. So where you registered in the morning that step outside, so not inside the building, please go stand there in your colors, right? So if you are pink, all the pink people find each other. If you're green, all the green people find each other. just like that, and your team leader who has the color poster will come to you as well. So find the team leader that has your color poster, and you will meet them outside before you enter the building, right? And then those of you who don't have a color on your lanyard, please just wait a couple of minutes, and then we will see how many people are in each group, and then we will allocate you so that there's an equal amounts of people on each of the buses. And then lunch packs will be served on the buses as well. Okay, so yes, we got you, don't worry about it. So on each of the buses, there will be lunch packs. So Nyangcela too, when we organize you, please don't just decide for yourself you want to go somewhere else, because we've counted a specific number of lunch packs for each bus. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to invite back our MC. One more time, when we leave here, you go downstairs outside the building, you find the person that has the color that's on your name tag, and you congregate with your color. Those of you who don't have a color just yet, we will come back into the auditorium and let you know who's going where. So we'll have a process to divide you. Is that okay with everybody? Thank you. And then just a note, the buses are arriving, but in between, you scan the QR code for the Amazing Race. That's 24 hours. It's ongoing. So feel free to start recording your content, taking pictures, and uploading your information for the Amazing Race. That's a consistent thing. And somebody was asking me about prizes. Yes, tomorrow afternoon, if you have completed the Amazing Race, there'll be prizes. And then based on everyone who's completed, we'll also just check how dope your reels and stuff are, and we will select winners, okay? I'll take this question over here.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I wanted to ask with regards to the quest, are we gonna I get it, we are in a bus of, let's say, blue, so we're gonna be divided. So are we gonna go to one business, or we're gonna rotate?
You're going to one business? What, rotating? You're not rotating, you're going to a standard set of businesses for your color.
So in one bus, there may just be a number of colors. So there may be an orange and a green and yellow. But blue or orange is going to one entrepreneur.
Yes. So every color goes to one business. So you are not rotating across different businesses. You're going to go to your one location, engage at your one location, get picked up again, and then come back here for the networking event. Yeah? Cool. Anybody else need clarity on Quest logistics? Alrighty, we will meet you outside. And then for the coordinators, lecturers, any other staff people that are here that are not going on the Quest visits, you're most welcome to come back into the auditorium when the students have gone. We will sort you out for lunch, and then we've got a cool engagement thing we're doing together for the afternoon. So please don't run away. We do have something for all the staff and lecturers that are staying with us. And then please don't leave. Welcome back to your stage, the MC. Thank you so much, Amandla. Okay, Amandla's feeling shy all of a sudden. I don't know what's happening. I will say as a wrap up, please tag guys, Instagram, Twitter. We have a TikTok account now. Shout out to Eddie. We've got a TikTok account now. Boo, 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 boo. Thank you so much. So please tag us at EDHE or at Entrepreneurship Development and Higher Education. And the hashtag is Entrepreneurship for Sustainability. Okay? Entrepreneurship, the number 4, sustainability, and then hashtag EDHE. So that's how we will see your reels and stuff throughout the event. So now we are officially done with this segment. Those with colors, please go downstairs and outside and congregate with your leader who has the color tag. Those who don't have colors, please wait here a couple of minutes. I will come back and let you know how to find a team that you're going to join. Thank you so much.
you.